I had profound experiences, and the number one theme of my experience was love. I experienced love where you just have no words to articulate it. Throughout my journeys, my first one, I experienced this deep, deep, profound love for my husband, for Tim. And it was just like something that I just had, it was a whole nother level, which I didn't think I could get to because, him and I were super much in love. And I thought we were there, but like it just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. And then my second experience, I had this deep, profound love for my children. I remember I called Gina in and I made her hold my hand. And I said, Gina, feel the love. Can you feel the love? You have to feel it.
Welcome to the My Self Wellness Podcast. I'm Charles Patti, the founder and CEO of My Self Wellness, along with my co-founder, Christina Thomas. 9 years ago, I began my journey to self-awareness and healing. Like many who have faced personal struggles, I felt lost and battled to find recovery. It wasn't until I discovered alternative healing methods that I began to see a real change in my life. This show will help you unlock your true potential through healthy lifestyle practices and transformations. Join us as we explore personal stories, expert advice, and practical tips to help you step into your true potential and level up. Welcome to the My Self Wellness Podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the My Self Wellness Podcast. Today, we are here with Heather Schwarz. Heather is not only a friend, but has become a client and much, much more. So yeah. I would love to take a second and ask you, who is Heather Schwarz?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of depth to Heather Schwarz. At my core, I'm a mom. I've got 3 beautiful children. I'm a wife. I'm very into family values. And I also have a very large business background. So I spent, 20 years in corporate America and finance and wealth management, and recently shifted over to real estate. But more specifically, and the reason why we're here is I've been on a spiritual path for the past 10 years. And a lot of that spiritual path included psychedelics. And so, ketamine was a perfect add-on to what I've already been doing.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so to bring it back even, the way that we met was very synchronistic.
It really was.
So do you want to go ahead and talk about it?
Yes. So it's funny because I had heard about ketamine, right? And my husband and I were shopping, and he saw this really cool shirt. It was like a psychedelic shirt, and he made some kind of comment to me. And there was a salesperson right next to us saying, well, it's interesting. My daughter's into that space. And of course, my ears perked up, and I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Because we had just moved down to Naples. And I really wasn't integrated into that side of the community yet. And I thought, tell me more. And then that's when she introduced My Self Wellness and you and Christina.
Yeah. So thanks to Lena, this is how we all ended up meeting, which was beautiful connection.
Synchronistic.
Very synchronistic. So speaking of psychedelics and being on a spiritual journey, I'd love to hear what led you into wanting to go in that direction? Was there anything that happened where you're like, this is the beginning of me kind of going on a spiritual path, and then getting into what kind of other psychedelics or healing modalities you had used before coming to us for ketamine?
Well, what led me on this path, so we're going to go back a little bit, 10 years, is life really wasn't working for me. I thought I was doing all of the right things. I had a fantastic job. I was working for Wells Fargo, which is a huge company. Had a nice, secure financial package, had 3 kids. I was married at the time. Things weren't great, but just things weren't working at all. I felt like I'm doing all the right things, but I don't have that joy and I don't have that fulfillment in life. And then, more stresses came on in life, as they tend to. And I remember sitting on my front porch having a conversation with my best friend and just God, I feel like I just can't do this anymore. I don't understand why people go through this. And she said, well, I just experienced something that I think you would like. And that was my introduction to psychedelics. And so my first step was through ayahuasca. And that's something that, people are starting to talk about a lot more right now. But 10 years ago, that was really brushed underneath the rug and kept, ayahuasca.
Yes. No, I get it.
But thankfully, people are having a lot more open conversations. And I've done lots of other psychedelics. And because once you do that first journey and you have that first experience, your whole world, your whole mind opens up. And then it makes you think, oh my gosh, what am I missing out on? Right? What else is there? And it just becomes this beautiful path, this beautiful beginning of a journey. It's like, wow, of wonderment, of amazement, of excitement, of magic. And so, it's easy to see why I've spent the past 10 years doing that. And then, in the past couple of years, how you and I were introduced, and we had that really special conversation at one of the magazine parties, Naples City Lifestyle magazine. And it was just like, wow, this feels like it was really meant to be. And I can tell you, it was very different than anything else that I'd ever done.
Before we get into it, one thing that you just spoke about that I really resonate with is once I had my first breakthrough experience with psychedelics, it changed everything for me.
It does.
It's all of the words that you used to describe how it shifted your life, like the magic. It made things magical. It was interesting. It made my life exciting again. Like those were all things that I felt too. And I was just like, there's so much more to this existence than we could ever possibly imagine.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I really feel that psychedelics are the tool that give you the opportunity to peek beyond the veil.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And then once you have that peak, you're like, oh my gosh, I was invited backstage and I want to see what that's all about.
Yes.
Like there's a show that's happening on the stage, but as you know, what goes into any kind of movie production, TV production, show production, there's so much behind the scenes that are happening. And you get that look to see what's going on behind the scenes. You feel like, special. You feel like a VIP.
I like that. Psychedelics are the backstage pass. There it is. To life or to existence. I dig it. All right. So getting back towards when you were talking about the difference between ayahuasca and ketamine. And listen, like that's a huge question that I get asked by tons of people that are reaching out and inquiring about doing treatments or just trying to educate themselves more. They're like, well, like what's the difference between ayahuasca and what you do? What would be your answer and interpretation on that?
Two completely different uses. You get different information on both. I would say with ayahuasca, you can easily toggle between being in your experience and coming back to, I guess, what you would call, 3D reality.
Yeah.
With ketamine, it is a complete surrender. It is a complete immersion into your experience where you can't really toggle back, right? With ayahuasca, experience can last several hours. It can last anywhere from 4 to, 12 hours was my longest, which is a commitment, right? With ketamine, you're in and out in about 45 to 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's, they're completely different, but again, you can get benefits from doing both.
I totally agree. And that's one message I try to put out there is that different tools in the tool belt.
Sure.
Not one is better than the other. It's just like, hey, you can receive this kind of experience from this medicine, or even like vaguely similar experiences from both of them. I tell people that an intramuscular injection of ketamine at the right dose is very comparable to like an hour-long DMT or ayahuasca session, which because DMT is the main psychoactive ingredient in ayahuasca, which is giving people these profound healing experiences. But a lot of people wouldn't expect that from an anesthetic that's FDA approved.
No, not at all. Because when you think about ketamine, you survey a whole bunch of people on the street and you're like, oh, that's a horse tranquilizer.
Yes.
What are you thinking? Or that's Special K, that's a party drug.
Yes.
Not too many people are thinking about ketamine in the therapeutic use or in the healing use,
Yes.
right?
Well, I had an experience the other day where a friend of mine actually recently had a stroke. Okay. And I didn't know about it. His son came up to me at the gym and I was like, how's your dad doing? And he's like, he had a stroke. He was in a coma in Miami and he's out of the coma now and they're doing therapy on him. And there's a company called Algernon, which is doing studies with DMT for stroke victims.
Oh, amazing.
And so it's actually doing a lot of neurological healing that happens from when people have a stroke. Ketamine's doing very similar things. And so we actually treated a guy who had recently had a stroke, and then he went back to his neurologist. They did scans, and the guy was like, "Hey, wait a second, what's going on here?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I did ketamine therapy." And he's like, "Oh, looks incredible." And it was like very intriguing for the doctor who didn't realize that ketamine could do something like that. And basically so I had told the kid, "Hey, you should tell your family and like maybe talk to your dad when he's ready to have the conversation about possibly coming in and doing ketamine to help assist with the damage that might have been done by the stroke." And so he took it back to his grandfather and he told him all about it. And then next time I saw him at the gym, he's like, "My grandfather thinks ketamine's really bad." And I'm just like, this is one of the hurdles that we end up going through, because there's just so many taboos and stigmas associated with it, for it being used in wrong ways or, non-therapeutic ways as partying. Sure. And then listen, like for everybody out there that's wondering, ketamine is used on horses and it's also used on other animals as well, because the safety profile for the medicine is so amazing. Sure. A cat is a good example where like a cat you can't use any other kind of anesthesia on a cat because it'll end up killing the cat because they're very sensitive to those kinds of things. I
didn't know that.
Ketamine is so safe you can use it on cats as well.
Interesting. Well, they use it on infants, right?
Yeah. Number one choice for pediatric sedation.
Right.
Yeah.
We have been conditioned to be closed-minded. Yeah. So that's why you're getting, those initial reactions of, oh my God, like, appalling. And it's so important to have these conversations, but number one, just to be open-minded to other possibilities. And I think that's a big problem within the medical community, because those practitioners tend to be very closed-minded and, they want to follow their own protocols, right? Yeah. But there's so much that's coming out, so much positive research that's coming out. And I know MAPS is doing a fantastic job, right, with a ton of research.
Yeah.
It's, remind me what MAPS stands for. I know it's the Multidisciplinary
Association for Psychedelic Studies, but they actually converted. So now it's a company. They turned into a for-profit company called Lycos.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, there's tons of research that are coming out, and it's amazing to hear all of the applications. And I watch the podcast and I see all of your video clips, and everybody's different. Yeah. And I think that's something else that's really important to talk about is, these different applications, that not every single journey is going to be the same.
Yeah.
Not every experience is going to be the same.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on the show and talking about all of this and getting, sharing your experience, because a lot of people out there would be like, well, like, she doesn't really fit the profile of somebody that would be doing ketamine therapy. I mean, Heather obviously has it, together. She's put together really well. She's a professional. She's, successful. It's like a lot of people think that these kind of treatments are reserved for the suicidal soldier or the person that, has a heroin addiction or something like that. And like people like you coming out and sharing your stories of healing with these kind of modalities really is powerful, and it helps break the taboos and stigmas associated with the medicines.
Sure. That's the beauty of psychedelics, right? It's this all-encompassing opportunity for so many different intentions. So as you said, there's people that are suicidal. There's people that have depression. There's people that need physical, emotional, spiritual healing, whatever that may be. But there's people like myself that I'm just looking to level up. I'm looking to expand my consciousness. I'm looking to see, what other magic, right, is out there for me using a different modality, because this was something that was pretty new to me and very special.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. Yeah. And I tell people that too. It's like, listen, like I can talk neuroplasticity and symptom relief from a string of different diagnoses, but this is actually like the level up for people.
Yeah.
And it did it for me. It did it for so many of our clients. And so it's like, when you're talking about being able to tap into higher states of consciousness, kind of like with what Steve Jobs talked about and like all of these other pioneers who are really like that were paving the way and changing our world together, a lot of these people used psychedelics to have these visions and get this kind of direction with the way they were going to go in life.
Yeah, you hear stories that Silicon Valley was, built on LSD.
Yes.
That's something I haven't tried yet. It gives me a little bit of pause. We'll see.
It's another commitment.
That's a whole nother level of commitment.
Yes.
it's all about mindset and your setting and safety, which I think is another important point, right? I was very impressed with what you guys, your protocols, what you have set up at the clinic.
Thank you.
Because that's something that, that comes up. It's natural when you're trying something new is to have this fear. So it's that big pause, and then your ego starts playing games with you. It's like, oh my God, what if this happens? What if that happens? What are people gonna think? Like, you got to shut that down real quick.
Yeah.
But it was really important for me. Please remind me, what is her name? Gina. Oh my gosh. Everybody loves Gina. I know. She's the most special. And I remember calling out for Gina several times. I need help. I need help. I need help. And I felt completely safe. I remember her whispering in my ear, "You're at my self-wellness. You're safe. You're safe." And I was like, okay. I just need quick reminder.
Yeah.
But it's nice to feel like there is somebody that is really holding space for you as you're going through this intense process. And it is intense. There's no sugarcoating that. It's intense.
It's work.
It's work.
People don't realize that. I had a kid, or not a kid, a young guy who wants to do treatments with us, and his mother wanted to get on a call with me the other day, and she was just like, "So listen, how do I know he's not going to get addicted to this? How do I know that this isn't just something that people go in and they just fall in love with the way that this feels, and now you want to do it all the time?" And I'm like, honestly, it's not like that. I was like, if anything, this is real work, and it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, it's a big experience. So, your journey. I mean, it's the beginning.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You are given a new perspective. You're given additional insight, right? You're peeking behind the curtain and you're given new information. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's up to you what you want to do with that information and how you want to incorporate it and integrate it into your life.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's where the real magic is, right? Is how you use it.
100%.
Yeah.
So I would love, this is one of my favorite things to ask and kind of get into. And listen, if you don't want to talk about any of it, that's fine also. But were there any experiences or healing sessions on the medicine that you had that were very profound, that stood out to you, that you could share?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm an open book with this stuff.
I love it.
Right? I mean, that's part of my mission, is to really talk openly about this, just because of my background. I do come off nobody would ever think that I've had 10 years of psychedelic experience. Yes. I don't look like that.
No.
Stereotype.
Yes.
And that's the whole point, right? So I want to have these open conversations because I have seen so much dramatic change happen in myself, as a ripple in my family, through my friends, just through my experiences. It's tremendous. So yeah, I talk openly is my point. But yes, I had profound experiences, and the number one theme of my experience was love. And I know that comes up often, but I experienced love where you just have no words to articulate it. And throughout my journeys, my first one, I experienced this deep, profound love for my husband, for Tim. And it was just something that I just it was a whole nother level, which I didn't think I could get to because, him and I were super much in love. And I thought we were there, but it just kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. And then my second experience, I had this deep, profound love for my children. And I remember I called Gina in and I made her hold my hand and I said, "Gina, feel the love. Can you feel the love? You have to feel it." And this is not really my character, to feel like it's, gooey, but I just kept saying, "No, Gina, you don't understand. You have to feel the love. It's important."
Heck yeah. I love it.
And then something very profound and very unexpected is, I don't know if many people know this, but I was married before, and my ex-husband, who's also the father of my children, passed away very unexpectedly. And let me think, we're going on 6 years now, and which, traumatic. He was, I think, 46 years old. The girls were very young, and I was very lucky because when he passed away, him and I were on a very good, basis, good friends. And something about 6 months before he passed away, something happened where I was like, I am so fed up with the way that our relationship was, all the bickering and the fighting. And, I had a cup that said, be the change, that famous quote. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to be the change here. And had a very strong conversation with him. I was like, as of today, we're friends. We're very good friends and we're very good parents for these children. And I'm so happy and thankful that I had that because, I didn't have any kind of regrets when he passed. But anyway, he came through in my journey. And it was like you're laying back in the chair and you have this, if you've ever been in an IMAX theater, you've got these screens all around you. And all I saw was him coming at me like with his arms and, his head and everything and just giving me love. And it was, nothing inappropriate, just pure, pure love. And to me, and I do remember crying and to me that was, very healing. And I clearly didn't expect that. That wasn't my intention. I just thought it was very interesting how he came in and, I just felt like we were all connected. Right? Everybody in my life, like we're all connected somehow. So that was profound. So the overarching feeling of love that I've never experienced on this kind of 3-dimensional, space that we're in.
That was beautiful and incredible. I hadn't heard that part. I hadn't heard that journey yet. That's incredible.
Yeah. Unexpected.
Listen, like this is where when we talk about how science meets spirituality, like the science behind the medicine and then the spiritual aspects. And a lot of times people are brushing the spiritual experiences under the rug or chalking it up to be a side effect of the medication. But like, I'm a true believer that these experiences are real. Whether they are or not, that's to be, debated or confirmed or denied. But like when I had my experiences like that, it was almost as real or more real than what I experience on a daily basis. And like I had come out of journeys before with that loving, euphoric feeling. It was like the most loving, euphoric feeling I had ever felt before. And I was just in tears from pure bliss.
Yeah.
And like, I had never experienced that before. It really, I feel like, and as Dr. Ferber would kind of hint towards or say is, he believes it unlocks your own loving, healing energy from within you.
Sure.
And I've felt that on multiple occasions. Was that kind of like your experience?
Yeah, that's my experience. And I can tell you throughout all of my, psychedelic experiences, I do feel like all of my journeys were divinely orchestrated.
Yeah.
And I can't explain how or why, but my intention of the start of any journey and also what came through in that journey, like was absolute perfection. And whether you believe in God or not, right, you have to question, like, where is that coming from? What's the source of that? And why is it coming to you at that particular time?
Yeah.
Right? There has to be something that's divinely orchestrated.
I think it's all divinely orchestrated. I think that this is a symphony of divinity, basically.
Yeah.
And it's the synchronistic flow of the evolution of everything. And so, like, it's incredible to me that my entire life I've been a seeker, and I was like, I was numbing myself for a lot of my life, but like I was always seeking, trying to figure out the answers. What am I doing here? What's my purpose? Sure. Is God real? Like, all of these questions that probably run through a lot of people's minds. And for me, psychedelics were the one thing that actually gave me a glimpse at what my answers were to those questions, where I did have my divine experiences. I did understand what my purpose was and why I was here. And it was like always bringing me back to love, but like to help people kind of go in that direction because I had gone through certain things and made it through them. And then I found my answers with like how to give myself the relief and answers I needed. And now I kind of like guide other people in that direction, but if I wouldn't have had my medicine experiences, I don't think I would have had those answers.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And when I think like, okay, I've done so many journeys, like I've gotten so much, and I do another one, it's like, oh my God, I just didn't think that was going to come through. Like it just keeps expanding. There's no end to the expansion,
Yeah.
right? And that's part of the magic.
Peeling more and more layers of the onion away.
Yeah, it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
I love it. So listen, when we were first sitting down, you were telling me about a book.
I was telling you, we were talking about how important it is to take notes.
To notes, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Your book.
I don't know if you noticed.
Yes.
I have my notebook here.
Yes.
Right? And I have taken, I take notes. I've been taking notes for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's really helping me right now because I've been going through all of those notes, and it's so interesting to see the person that I used to be 10 years ago or 5 years ago or a year ago, and how just things have changed and how I've evolved. And, my life has gotten, exponentially better. Right. And honestly, I attribute a lot of this to my psychedelic experiences, right? And my spiritual experiences. But I wanted to emphasize how important it is to take notes.
Yes.
Right. Because, when you're having these beautiful experiences, when you step away from this after a few weeks, a few months, it starts to fizzle away, right? There are some core pillars that stay with you, but the details fizzle away. And when I sit back and I look at my notebook and I was like, gosh, this is just beautiful, the things that I wrote down. And, here's a couple of things. The world is nothing. It's only what we make of it, right? Because you're in this space when you're doing ketamine where it's just like pure creation. I remember I kept saying, who am I? Remember I was telling you, who am I? Where am I? And what do I need to do? Right? And then I was saying, I'm nothing, I'm anything, I'm everything, I'm God. Yes. And I know to some people that's like, come on. But that's the feeling that this type of medicine, that this type of experience evokes in you. And it's
Can you read that one more time?
Yeah. I am nothing, I am anything, I am everything, I am God. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, just beautiful.
Well, listen, this goes to the part, Joe Rogan said a long time ago on one of his episodes, he's like, DMT, which is one of the most powerful psychedelics on the planet, it's like gold dust that you're trying to hold on to, and it's going through your fingers, and you're holding on to these experiences, and then they start to go away and you start forgetting the details. And with what you're talking about right there, that's such a powerful tool. And listen, this is what we encourage people to journal. And I encourage people that are going through treatments at other clinics or that are on their psychedelic journeys to really journal and document this kind of stuff. Sure. Because being able to go back, like you said, and actually being able to go back and hear about your experiences, but witness your own growth.
Yeah.
Through your own evolution.
Yeah. And then things make sense. They make more sense when you're able to look back at your notes. And sometimes it's something really hard comes up, right? And you don't want to talk about it. And I understand that. Some healing work is hard sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to talk about it, you have to get it out of your head, right? You have to be able to process it somehow. And if it's just sitting and taking up space in your head, you're not really able to process it. So one of the best ways of doing that is journaling and just sit and write. And if you don't, if you're feeling down, you're feeling like you're kind of being burdened with this, just write. And you'd be amazed to see what comes out once you start.
So since you did the treatments, I'd love to ask you, what changes in your life? What really kind of stood out? Or maybe not even in your life as much as just in your being, in your essence, in the way that you're grounded, etc. Any of these things. What did you notice the biggest shift in?
Just inner peace.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think that's something that is really underlooked in today's age. People ask, what do you want in life? I want happiness. I want abundance. I want love. I want health. And those are all fantastic things. Don't get me wrong. But inner peace, I feel like that's the cherry on top. If you've got inner peace, you've got it all.
100%. 100%.
Gave me more inner peace.
I love that. Well, listen, this is my belief is that, we are the manifestors of reality and the co-creators of existence. And if I'm peaceful in my inner world, then everything should be more peaceful out here. That's like the way that it happens. And so like my inner peace is priceless.
Yeah.
Priceless.
Yeah. And if you want to change something on your outer world, it has to change in your inner world first.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that. You know, they're looking for some type of external validation, or they're looking for some kind of external catalyst to make changes, but that change has to happen in you first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so, as I heal myself, I heal the world.
That's right.
It's an inside job. The only way out is in.
That's right.
You know? I love it.
That's right. And you'll start to see, as you change yourself, you're going to start to see those ripples happen in your life. Again, it starts with your immediate, it starts with yourself. It starts with your immediate family. It starts the way with how you look, how you show up in life. You know, things ripple out to work, things ripple out to your friends. And it's amazing. You step back and you look back 6 months ago and you're like, whoa, a lot's changed.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's another thing we don't give ourselves credit enough for a lot of the time is everybody's always super hyper focused on what they're trying to achieve and what they're trying to, and listen, I fall victim to this myself, so don't get me wrong.
We all do.
But like, we don't ever take a step back and look at how far we've already come.
Sure.
And I think that that's really important. It's like, I looked at a picture. We won Best of Bonita again.
I know. Congratulations.
For the 4th year in a row, which is awesome. But I looked at the picture from the first year that we won it. And I was just looking at myself and like, I was just like, wow, you've come a really long way, man. But it's like, we don't take time to actually give ourselves that kind of credit. So I think it's really important for people to actually give themselves more credit and not always be super focused on how much farther I have to go.
Sure.
It's like, how far have I actually come to this point?
Exactly. And that's also a very good comparison instead of comparing yourself to somebody else.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
which is a total trap.
What is it? It's a comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
It's the truth.
It is the truth, of course.
It's like we're in a highly competitive world, and I really do my best to focus on only being in competition with myself.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, that's really all I can do is just aspire to be a better version of myself than I was yesterday.
That's right. Because you know yourself. You know who you were before. You don't know other people.
Yeah.
There's never a fair comparison when it comes to comparing yourself with other people.
Yeah. So what else is going on in your world these days?
Yeah. So I have been I've been working on a new project and a new platform called Elevating Perspectives. So it's so perfect that we're sitting here because, I mean, this is a focal point of what I'm working on. And what it is a platform that, educates, creates awareness, removes stigmas and any kind of negativity, and have open conversations and education around psychedelics and alternative healing modalities. Because as you see, I'm sure on, TikTok and Instagram, and there's just so much happening in the alternative healing space and psychedelic space and spiritual advancement, and people feel more open and comfortable to start having these conversations. And so I'm creating a platform, and I'm incorporating the last 10 years of my spiritual experience and all of my journeys, and giving practical tips and, just letting people know what's down the road and ahead of them. Cause I've definitely walked a long road. And I think it's really important right now because people are searching for that something else, right?
Yes.
They know that there's something in them it's just not resonating. It's not working. Like they're not getting that fulfillment or that joy. And it's so close. It's like right there, right? And just helping people understand how to get there.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something that's new and exciting.
I love it.
Elevating perspectives.
Elevating perspectives.
Yes.
It's such a needed thing.
It is.
It really is. And,
It is.
and it's like to actually have people that have really walked the walk and been on the journey to be like yourself, to be out there and helping educate people properly is so important.
Yeah, and doing it from the perspective of somebody that looks like they should be sitting in a, 30 or 50-story office building, being a banker, which is what I used to do.
Yes. Listen, I think that that's so important, is breaking that taboo or that stigma that psychedelics are for druggies or for people that are partying all the time or for hippies or for, people that are lost. It's like, if you had any idea, which I'm sure you'd get it, but like how many professionals that I know that are, helping shape this world that we live in that use psychedelics, it's much larger than anybody could possibly imagine.
Absolutely. You'd be surprised the number of politicians, of corporate executives, celebrities that do psychedelics. These are influential people that really, they don't have that safety. They don't feel confident to come to the forefront. I wish they would. I wish we would have more open conversations about it. Something that you and I did last year, we put together an event. We organized a group of people. We had an open mic where it was an open, Q&A. Ask your questions, right? Do it on a personal level. I really do wish that more people were having conversations about this and being more vulnerable. I think that's what it comes down to. People don't want to be vulnerable, or they don't want to be judged, right? They don't want to be put in that box of being, oh, you're a drug addict now.
Yeah.
And because once you get put in that box, you feel like you're discredited. It kind of chisels away, but I can't tell you enough how empowering it is to have done psychedelic therapy.
I love that.
I can't emphasize it enough. In the right way.
Yes.
With the right people. All right.
100%.
That's something that's so important.
No, for sure. It's like, I look at them as medicines now because what they're doing to help people heal.
Yes.
But it's almost like, I want to take it a step farther than that. I like relating psychedelics to the limitless pill now.
Yes.
It's like, it's not just a medicine. It's like, this is an enhancement. This is a level up. Yeah. This is going to take you to levels of consciousness that you hadn't been able to attain before. And or just even for people that can, and they get into these meditative states and they tap into higher states of consciousness. And this is another thing I get from people that are in that space that kind of are against psychedelics. They're like, well, I can tap into this stuff without using the medicines. And I'm very happy about that. And I can do some pretty cool stuff through breath work too. But I can tell you this, it's not the same thing as injecting an intramuscular shot of ketamine or hooking yourself up to a DMT pump or something like that. It's like, this is absolutely, in my personal opinion, not scientifically, but popping your third eye wide open and giving you a view of spiritual realms that we don't normally have access to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't advocate enough. And I think this is part of the negative stigma is, okay, if you're doing any kind of like a psilocybin or an ayahuasca or a ketamine or a DMT, and honestly, the list is very long of psychoactive medicines, right? You have to do it in a safe environment, right? Doing mushrooms at Burning Man, okay, sounds cool, right? I know lots of people that have done it. I went to Burning Man, but that's not it. That's not healing. That's not intentional. That's fun. And that's also how you get in trouble, right? Because it's getting in trouble with your decisions, but it's also getting in trouble like emotionally, mentally, spiritually. That's why you have to have these safeguards and these protocols. And that's something else that I'm a huge advocate for is, knowing what to expect, knowing what to ask, doing things that you feel comfortable with, like educating yourself, not just trusting, oh, I heard that was cool, let me just go for it. You gotta educate yourself.
Well, that's another thing that people don't ask themselves when they're using psychedelics recreationally or in like a setting that isn't for healing. You might know what your intention is, but what about all of the people that you're around? What are their intentions? Because it's like, if these people aren't putting loving energy towards you and having the best intention for you, like, we're energetic beings and that energy is contagious, and like that can send you into a very negative experience. It
can. And I don't think that that's thought about enough, looking at this from an energetic perspective, because when you do psychedelics, you open up your energy. Like, if you're not in a safe space, what are you opening up your energy to?
Yeah.
So when I talk about like doing, drugs with 70,000 of, your unclosest friends, like that's a dangerous environment. Yeah. Seems cool, seems fun, right? But it's not at all. So that's something that you really, need to think about. And it's the same if you're not on psychedelics. Let's just say that you're in a restaurant or at a party, right? You can pick up on somebody where they have negative energy and you're like, oh man, I don't want to be around them.
Yeah.
Right. And that's if you're kind of closed off.
Yeah.
When you're doing psychedelics, I can't emphasize enough, your energy field opens wide open. So you have to be very, very careful of who's in that field when you're doing that work. And also like who's holding that space for you if something comes up.
Yeah.
And this is a question that I get. Well, what if you have a bad trip? Right? What if something bad comes up? Well, let's talk about what's a bad trip. What's bad? Hard things come up, right? If you're doing this type of work, I keep referencing Burning Man because I just have a lot of friends that have been to Burning Man. I have a very, very good friend who had a terrible experience who, I forget what kind of substance he did. And it really messed him up for months. Looking at it from a healing perspective, if you're in a safe space and something bad comes up, you really have to question what is bad. Hard is not necessarily bad. If something is coming up, it's because it's for your benefit to come up. It's something that might be holding you back. It's something that you have to process in life, right? It's something that you need to at least see, right? Because you can't heal what you're not aware of. You can't heal what you can't see.
Yeah. Well, listen, like I don't talk about this too often, but like, and it wasn't on ketamine, it was on another psychedelic, but like I had an experience where I went to my own personal hell, which felt like an eternity.
Oh yeah, I've been there too. Yeah.
It was like an eternity in hell.
Yeah.
And people would say, well, what could you possibly get that would be beneficial out of an awful experience like that? And the first thing that popped into my head after I came out of the experience was, anything that I'm doing in my life right now that might end me up in a place like that again, I'm not doing anymore right now. And so it like really made me take seriously of like I'm going to get my life together and like I'm not going to have that kind of experience again. And so it's like, you hear about being scared straight.
Yeah.
Like when they send the young guys to prison and they're like, oh, they won't go to prison because they're going to get scared straight by going to prison. Yeah. Well, you have an experience like that. It's another way to get yourself together too without.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's true. I've had some of those experiences too. And listen, it's a product of your own environment. So what is that reflecting back to you? It's your own personal demons, right? And you have to be able to see them if you want to heal them. And I remember a shaman that I worked with, who I loved dearly. Her name's Kelly. And I kept seeing all these monsters. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like, Wes Craven, I could make a horror film. And she goes, I want you to do me a favor. When you see this monster come up, just like look at it. Be like, what do you need? Like, how can I help you? Like, what do you have for me? And I did that. And I kid you not, this sounds so corny. It turned into a butterfly. And I can't explain that. I just can't. But it was that, again, it was that awareness and also the ability to transmute something that was dark inside of me. And I can't tell you exactly what that was, but it was just something in me that needed love, that needed attention, and also that needed like some kindness.
Transmuting darkness into light, transmuting and it's all on the same spectrum. It's like, it's like the dark, the light, and it's all on the same line.
It's all on the same pole.
Hermetic philosophy is here. But like having to face our own demons and then not run from them anymore. That's right. Saying like, what do you want from me? Like, what am I, like, what do I need to learn so I can transcend this?
Exactly.
And I think that's one thing psychedelics can do for people is it gives you an introspective look at things that you might need to work on that you didn't even know.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not all rainbows and butterflies and hearts, right?
No.
But it's exactly what you need.
Yeah. And like, listen, like I'll just go ahead and say it. It's all perfect though.
Sure.
Every single bit of it.
Sure.
And that's another thing where it's like, here, I'm about to get deep here. Everybody's always talking about this spiritual war that we're in, right?
Sure.
And this is like the dark versus the light. And like, I don't look at it like that, because if we're all one collective consciousness, then everything's all a part of the same thing, right? It's just different ends of the spectrum. And so it's like a lot of my darkest days made me the man that I am today. It doesn't mean that it was pleasurable or a quote unquote good thing, but it was a necessary thing that I had to go through and to evolve into the person that I am today. And so like one thing, and I see it in the spiritual community a lot too, where it's just like, oh, I am the light. And like, and I aspire to be that as well also. And I think that, but like, I think we're all of it.
Sure.
And so when we're talking about being in a spiritual war, or like, this is the enemy, or the darkness is the problem, or like, this is the enemy, it's like, that's when you do this and you're casting your finger outwards.
Yeah, you got a bunch back.
That, and you know what? It's usually a reflection of something internally that I still need to heal within myself.
Sure.
Because if I am the manifester of reality and the co-creator of existence. And so like, this is where the only way out is in. The only way that we can heal the world isn't by casting stones this way. It's by going within and healing ourselves and embodying that light that we want to project out into the world. Because as long as I'm still projecting separation or hate or anger outwards, then it's always going to be coming back at me.
It's all about that inner peace.
There it is. Back to the inner peace. I love it.
Circle it back.
There it is. I dig it. So the question that I always end out with is, if you had one message for the world, what would it be?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. You should have prepared me for that one. That's an on-the-spot question.
It is.
I'm going to revert back to really finding your own inner peace, right? So much of the world's problems could be solved right now if we had more inner peace.
Yes, I love it. And one of the ways that we get inner peace is by going in our inner space.
That's right.
And exploring that and figuring it out. And I think that psychedelics is a truly powerful way to do that.
I do too.
Well, this has been awesome.
Thank you.
We've been needing to do this for a while now, and I'm so glad that we actually got to sit down and talk about everything. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Myself Wellness Podcast. And just remember, if nobody's told you that they love you lately, I do.
I do too.
All right.